Meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. Another chance of showers and thunderstorms today and tonight. Only about a 30-40% coverage, though, and the temperatures with mostly cloudy skies in the mid-80s during the day, mid-60s or so at night. A 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms Thursday, partly sunny near 90. And it'll be near 90 Friday, partly to mostly sunny, still a chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Your life, your music, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Russia says it believes the scheduled meeting between President Trump and North Korea's Kim Jong-un will be successful. Anwar Ibrahim has been freed from jail in Malaysia after his party won last week's election. 15 people have been killed after a portion of an under-construction bridge collapsed in the Indian city of Varanasi. And it now appears Meghan Markle's father is likely to miss her wedding to Prince Harry on Saturday in Windsor after all.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM, good morning to you. On your Wednesday, it's May 16, 2016. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you, filling in for Quabila, who we definitely want to keep lifted up in prayer as she is in St. Bernard's Hospital recovering from an illness. We're definitely praying that Quabila gets well and returns to the saddle, so definitely keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Joining us today is, we're actually doing a two-part show. This is part one. We have Dr. Charles Coleman and Mrs. Debbie Johnson, and they are with the Fisher Street Community in Action program. They're going to kind of talk about some of the things that they've got going, so we want to thank both of you for joining us today.
I want to thank you for allowing us to be here this morning. We want to talk a little bit about the change that we're getting ready to make at Fisher Street Community in Action. For years, we've just been growing vegetation, giving it away, these type of things. But last few years, Debbie Johnson, and I'll let her talk about this in a few minutes, has come on board and really outpaced me. I'm really glad to get some relief. Matter of fact, she's taken over the garden spot at 330 North Fisher. She's got my wife working, which is a blessing to kind of keep her out of the way a little bit. And so, but there's some things that we have been wanting to do for years, and with Debbie on board, seriously speaking, I'm going to read some of the things that we have done, but I want to get some extension from her to things that we're going to do. Before I get started, we do have a lot at 316 North Rake Street, and we're getting ready to, within the next year, move that garden to another spot which is diagonal to 330 North Fisher, moving our raised beds, moving that a lot so that all the gardens can be combined together and be closer to proximity. But one of the things that we had started wanting to do was have a preparation kitchen, and also do some stuff more with the community, with the children. So I'm going to let Debbie talk about her ideas of what we want to do with the children in the community with the building that we have now.
We have a small building that we're in the process of renovating so that we can have a neighborhood clubhouse for the children where we can do some crafts, some of them oriented toward the garden, like birdhouses, planting, that type thing. We also are going to, out in the area outside of the house, going to put in some picnic tables and a small play area for the children so that the neighborhood children have a place where they can come and spend some time and be in a safe environment.
And I thought that when Debbie brought that to me, matter of fact, she even had a little map drawn out, and I said, man, this is a wonderful idea, but at the same time, I have been so involved in city council and other things in the community that even I'm learning to wind down. Matter of fact, this is my first day being up after surgery, and you get some lessons. and I've got a lot of lessons about being on my back for the last 3 weeks, and so there's some changes that we're going to make. One of the things I do also want to give a shout out indirectly to some people that have already helped us to get this started. We went to Wallace Fowler some months ago and told him what we want to do and how he wanted to see if he could help us out. So he donated a $17,000 brand new tractor to us. So that is helping us without pushing, and at my age, pushing those push tractors. The second part of the story is that we have a combined entity with Home Depot, and since we're going to have this building now that we're going to make a play area out of it, Home Depot has already donated all the tables for us. They've donated all the paint. They've donated sheetrock. Not only just Home Depot, but Ride Out Lumber Company, Ralph Waddell, and Dr. Archie Ryan had in times given us donations. Michael Pope from First Security Bank, Jerry Morgan from Focus Bank, now he's at First National Bank. These are people that have helped us. Rick Barker from Emerson Funeral Home have helped us. So we've got a lot of help. And so in our organization, we don't work with grants anymore. We just work with donations. But in this donation process, we have now the funds and all the material that we need to work on our building. We're going to probably have some laptops put in there, but we're going to probably just leave it up to Debbie to kind of just take over. I've said it about 3 times today, but I'm really blessed to have her to be able to take over one garden. Lisa Stevens will be taking over the other garden. Gearhead, we are also in bed with Gearhead, and so since she works there, they're going to be taking over the garden at 316 Drake Street. But until then, within a year's time, repeating myself, we're going to move that garden closer to 330 garden so that we can do things a little bit more convenient. Home Depot came out this week, and we also had the Girl Scouts came out last week when I was just got out of the hospital and planted all the tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, and things we even. And then we also have Brother Agnew. Brother Agnew had been down a little bit to kind of hip surgery, and he's coming over helping us out. So I just want to make sure that it's not just a Charles Coleman thing. That Fifth Street Community Action is actually a community thing. I've also thought about changing some of our ways of how we distribute some of the goods that we have and going into it maybe like the Saturday market that they have at Arkansas State University, but this will come through what the board says, because we do have a board that says yes or no, we can do these things. So I'm going to let David talk about crafts a little bit more, what type of crafts that we want to have at Fifth Street Community College.
First of all, let me say that we do have a new shelter in place at the garden with a picnic table under it, so that when we get ready to give away our vegetables, we've got a sheltered place to do it in so that it's shaded. And there is a picnic table there, so we are going to be doing some crafts in that area until we get the house ready, so that as soon as the kids get out of school, we'll be able to start interacting with them some, because that's one of the big things is kids get so bored in the summertime because they don't have anything to do. We did start last year a little free library, and it is right there by the garden, and it is free books that we have in there that people have donated to us. The kids can come and get those books and take them out and read them and bring them back. So that's been very successful. Some of the crafts, like I said, that we want to do are, we're going to do some birdhouses, we're going to do some stepping stones, some garden-oriented things to start with. But a lot of our crafts are going to be geared toward Christian-based craft, so that also the children know the spirit of Fisher Street Community in Action, that we're there to help our neighbors and to help our neighborhood.
I want to read, verbally read what the community garden program is, and a lot of people thought we were just using that as a different, but we are really a 501(c), And just it said the mission of Fish Street Community Garden Project is to promote the physical and mental well-being of the residents of Jonesville. And I think now, since we have David, that we can meet those needs, those physical needs. We need children that have need advising during the summer. We were working quite a bit with the Success School and volunteers, and we're still looking for volunteers to help us out. But the way that I always say God has allowed us to move, we had not needed as many volunteers lately because we have worked so hard and diligently to set our garden up where it's also, I would use the term self-sufficient by using raised beds. Before we had to do a lot of tilling, a lot of moving different materials around, but now we don't have to do that much since we have the raised beds. So we're moving real fast to be geared toward what our actually community garden program is all about. When we started years ago, this was a real challenge, but I guess I feel so blessed now. One of the things that Debbie made a statement a while ago about Christian organization, we're not a denominational organization, by the way. I think sometimes people try to tie us in with Fisher Street Community, Fisher Street Church, and that's the churches in that area. But the gardens were actually named behind Fisher Street, where the gardens will be set for. So we're not into the denomination thing. We're into the Christian thing, meaning to help anybody, any nationality, ethnic group, and to help them with these children, because it is school will be out pretty soon, and we're trying to find a place. Being on the council, one of the issues that I've had, have always had, that they do a lot of things at Joe Mack Park, and it seems like everything is geared toward Joe Mack Park, and it kind of leaves everybody going in that direction. But we found out in our community, we have a lot of Hispanic people that their children not even able to get to Joe Camel Park because they have to wait to their parents. And we found out that even in the community, that Hispanic communities per se are close-knit families, and so their children and their mothers and fathers work quite clearly together. We've had some help with that type of thing. Back to the bookmobile, I call it the bookmobile. I cannot get set ready for Debbie's definition of the book club, but
library.
A book library. But we've also had the Rotary Club offer to give us books, and so we also ask in the community, if you have books that you want to give away, children books, so that we can keep our supply up, because those children need to learn how to read, and especially in our communities, because we have a totally mixed community. We need those books so those kids can take them home. We don't ask them to bring them back. Take them home and read them and study them. Kids' books more so, not so much adult books, but kid books. So they will be used, because we cannot keep that I call it that playhouse on a block. We cannot keep it full because it stays empty. Every time we put a load of books in there. But at the same time, Fish Street Community Action has been an asset to the community. Things that we grow. Deb, I'm going to give you a listing of all the things that, not give you a listing, but you could kind of tell the community what we're actually growing this year.
Well, before we get into that, for those that may want to donate books or to help support you guys, where can they go? Who can they contact?
Well, they can contact me at my phone number is 870-931-3178. I'm going to be kind of out for the next 2 weeks because I'm still getting over the surgery. But you still can leave a message on that number, and I can always get a hold to Debbie. Debbie is not so much in the form of being the president, but she has been really valuable asset of actually taking over all the duties and more than she can really take. But she's also once again included my wife, so that's a good thing for them to do what they need to do. But thank you. You can reach us at 870-931-3178. The address for the garden is 330 North Fisher Street. The other address for the garden is 316 North Drake Street.
All right, and we're speaking with Dr. Charles Coleman and Mrs. Debbie Johnson, of the Fisher Street Community and Action Organization. And shout out to Quabila, who is actually watching the show from her hospital beds. Hopefully you're doing all right while you're watching the show. So we got about 7 minutes, so we'll go ahead and kind of get back into our segment.
Even though we're back in the city, I just also want to take a time to thank all of those individuals that have prayed for me doing my surgery at St. Vincent in Little Rock, and I'm still on the mend, but at the same time, I still have as my wife says, an active mind that she wish she could turn off. But that's what God has given me, and she knows that, and I thank her. I also want to thank, again, the radio station for allowing us to be here. I also want to thank Debbie for really stepping up to the plate to help us in the garden. But not only that, she's become our friend and our family here, and our mother both. And at the same time, we're going to do more positive things. I've also have included that we're also going to do just some free cookouts so people to just come and see what we're doing at the garden. So we will get back with the radio station. We will get back with whatever media that we can put out so that people can come and just chat. That's one reason we're doing the picnic table. So we just want people to relax when they come to the garden. If they want to come and help out, we do have one thing that if you're going to work in the garden, we do have a liability sheet. I know that's kind of hard for some people, but we have to think about our safety. We have to think about also the liability of somebody might fall and hurting in there. So we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but we will probably be asking you to fill out a liability sheet if you want to come within those gardens. Yeah.
All righty. So, Mrs. Johnson, Dr. Coleman has bragged on you for about the past almost 15 minutes. So just going to give your personal thoughts on this and all the work that you've done. How do you feel about this? Obviously, you're doing a good job.
Well, I think he's saying that because he wants me to do more. It's what I think it is. I think he's set a plan for me there. But I grew up in that community. I went to school at North School when it was North School, and the place where the garden, one of the gardens was actually the home place of my best friend. So I played in that area. I played up and down that street as a child growing up, and I really want it to be a safe neighborhood for children now. And so many times we forget that the young people are what drive our future, and if we don't start with them while they're young, they're not going to be much for us for the future. So that's what our plan is to get the children involved. And gardening is a lost art. There are so many people that don't have a clue how to garden. They like the fresh vegetables, but they don't know how to grow them. So that is one of the things that we hope to do is teach those children how to do some gardening and hopefully to enjoy it. We are growing tomatoes, we're growing cucumbers, we're growing squash, the type of things that are commonly eaten by just about everybody so that we can give them away, and we will also be giving some of them to the feeding program across the street at the church. We've done that the past couple of years, and we will continue to do that because fresh vegetables are important in a diet, and we want to make sure that those are included in the feeding program.
All right, Mrs. Johnson, how did you first learn about this organization and get involved?
I have been doing a Bible study with Dr. Coleman that he does on Wednesday afternoons at 4, and I have been involved in that Bible study for probably 6-7 years now, and that's where he recruited me from, was from that Bible study.
Well, a lot of good things can come from a Bible study, and that's how Reverend Oates and I got close by doing a Wednesday morning Bible study here on KLEK. Dr. Coleman, what are some of the other things people can look forward to from not just the garden, but from the organization itself?
Well, every year they have the Nash Night Out. We're going to sponsor it, and hopefully this year we're going to sponsor it bigger. I just have to say that we try to get big as we go. Matter of fact, we're going to be calling on you guys here at the radio station, hopefully to broadcast from there next.
Well, we'll probably have to do like we did last year. I mean, it seems like everybody wants us at their national night out, so we'll probably have to kind of rotate, spend a little time here, a little time there. But I need to clone myself.
But not only just the national night out, we want to also get invested, as David said, in the community for us helping the children, having advisory sessions where children can just come and talk about their problems, their issues, so that we can kind of curtail what's going on in the community, that children know that we still have people that understand them, that love them, that want to be involved with them, that we're just not just going to throw them by the wayside. So our focus is really going to be what we can do for the children. That's going to be 90% of what we do this year. And if it takes off, fine. If it doesn't, we're going to continue that. And at the same time, we're going to have other programs. We've also are going to HIP KLEK, hopefully in September, with a fundraising. And we're going to try to do it on the community property. And so hopefully that you guys will be looking to go and get ready, get your pockets ready. Leave McDonald's and Sonic alone for a few months and bring that money and try to help KLEK buy equipment so that they can come and do more than they're doing in the community. And so we're blessed to have you guys to do that.
Well, we certainly appreciate the gesture, and we definitely look forward to working with you all on that. We here at KLEK, we're willing to work with anyone who's willing to help us, and we just are blessed and grateful and thank God for each and every one of our supporters, no matter how much or how little they support or any way in which they support. So thank you, Dr. Coleman. All right, we got about 1 minute and a half left. Any final comments, anything that you want to stress to the listeners?
I want to stress to the listeners in Jonesboro that everybody needs to get involved. And I think, yes, I do rely on Debbie quite a bit, but I think she can teach a lot of people how to garden, how to do some things in the community. One of the places that on Wednesday we have Bible study from 4 to 5, and so what we're going to do every Wednesday that's applicable, I use that term, that when we get through with our Bible study, we go straight to the gardens where we can be giving away the vegetation that's growing, instead of trying to do it on Saturday and be out there several times. So we're just going to use that one time a week for those that want to come to the garden. One time a week will be on Wednesday evening, anytime after 5 o'clock. And we probably will be there from maybe, I'm going to say from 5 to 7. And so that's a challenge to anybody that want to come and get vegetables or look through the garden, see what we're doing. That will happen.
All right. We thank you, Dr. Coleman and Mrs. Johnson, for stopping by. When we come back from our break, part 2 of Community Conversation for today with Dr. Kim Davis and Dr. Audrey Bowser. Talk about the Ready for Teach program. Don't go anywhere. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community